Good morning, kind people of the internet. This morning it was dark and foggy. But now the sun is shining, and that means it's time to do a vlog. Trying to warm up a little bit. I just spent about 45 minutes doing just long tones. Now I have the metronome set on 60 beats a minute, and I'm just trying to do really basic fundamental ideas. Right now I'm just doing like major triads, moving around up and down in half steps, just trying to get dead on with the metronome, trying to keep my sound focused and solid and even across the range of the instrument, and just trying to play with really good time. If I can do all of those simple things really well, then I know it's going to make playing music a lot easier. So I got an email from a young music student here in Indianapolis. He just finished high school this year, and he is just now starting at the IU Jacobs School of Music. And he worked with me a little bit over the past couple of years, and so he sent me this email, and I thought it might be helpful if I share my response, just because I think a lot of other people are in the same situation. He says, "Hey Sean, I'll be starting at Jacobs this fall, and I was wondering if you had any tips on how to get off on the right foot in music school, stuff like how to develop a good routine, balancing class schedule, and so on. Any tips you have would be greatly appreciated. Thanks, Matt." So basically what I did was give him the 5 things that I think would be the most useful for him to think about. Number 1, plan your work time in advance. So I don't mean your class time, or I don't mean your rehearsal time or ensemble time or lesson time or any of that. It's your own personal work time. So your practice time and your homework time. Plan those out as you have your schedule. You know, get a calendar, however you do it. If it's on your computer, an Excel document or whatever it is, actually try to block out times when you will practice, whether it's right after rehearsal, right before lunch, right after whatever, anything. Just try to plan on that. Don't wait around and allow it to happen, because if you do that, you're more likely for it to not happen, or for other things to take its place, like hanging out with people, going out to eat, going to parties, all that stuff. Number 2, go to as many concerts and recitals as you possibly can, and try to find the best musicians and try to go hear them. Depending on what school you're going to, there are going to be a lot of older students, like graduate students, doctoral students, and even faculty concerts and recitals that you can go and hear. Those can be super helpful in your development in terms of learning, and hearing an instrument in a live setting is always better than trying to listen on a recording. And you're hopefully in an environment where you will have a lot of good recitals happening all the time. So just try to go, even if it's not for your instrument. If you're a saxophone player, go to a vibraphone recital, or just go to a percussion recital and just try to dissect the rhythms and just try to allow yourself to grow rhythmically, or just go hear string quartets and try to just enjoy the sound of it, but then also try to analyze the harmony and try to figure out what's happening. Just push yourself to hear as much great music as you can. Number 3 is try to build your network of friends in music school. So yeah, naturally you'll have friends, people that you hang out with and go to parties with, or go to eat with, or whatever it is. But you also want to try to branch out, and even if you're an introverted person, which I know a lot of music students are, just try to branch out and meet people that aren't necessarily in your circle. So if you're a saxophone player, it's like, yeah, you'll have your saxophone studio that you're really tight with, and maybe like your saxophone quartet, and then maybe the people in either concert band or jazz ensemble that you're close with. But try to branch out, meet string players, or meet like brass players, meet trombone players, meet people in the conducting school or the opera school or ballet. Just branch out, because the more people that you can meet early on, and those connections that you can hold on to later, will actually have a lot of value down the road, just in terms of people that you can call on if you need something. Like later on, who knows, you might need to add a trombone to a piece, and you want to have a long list of trombone players that you are familiar with, people that you can just call. Or you might want to be adding choreography to a piece that you're composing, and you can just say, hey, I know this person, and I know they know a bunch of dancers, and you can do it that way. So just trying to build that network from the start now is really something that you don't want to ignore. Number 4 is trying to keep in mind that it's not too early to set career goals. Just be thinking, the one thing you want to keep in mind is, say you're maybe like 18 or 19 years old, the things that you really like now could change in 5, 10, or even 15 years down the road. But what you want to do is focus on the things that you really, really love to do. So say you love to do arranging, right? Try to figure out what groups you want to arrange for. And then think about, okay, in the real world, what opportunities would I have to do that, to possibly make a living, or to further my growth and to further my involvement with whatever that is. So say you like arranging for strings. Well, even that alone is a pretty broad thing to do. On what level do you want to do that? Do you want to write for middle school orchestra, or do you want to do string quartet arrangements for professional ensembles? Or do you want to do like pop orchestra arrangements? All this sort of stuff. And then, try to find those jobs, like I say, in the real world, but then try to backtrack and say, okay, how did those people that are doing that get to that position? And just try to create steps for yourself that will help you along that way. So it's definitely not too early now to start thinking about how you want to go about reaching your goals. And then number 5, take care of yourself. Exercise, eat well, do whatever you need to do to stay mentally in the game, but not overworked. You still want to enjoy it. If it becomes too much of a hassle or a drag to do what you're doing, then most likely you're going to stop and you're going to quit. So you got to stay mentally happy, and for different people it means different things. If it means taking on a hobby, or if it just simply means balancing your work and your social life, trying to think about that. But I know personally there were a lot of people that I knew when I was in undergrad and music school that were having nervous breakdowns, that were just being overworked. So trying to just have good perspective as you are in it, that will really help you a lot. So I hope you find these ideas helpful, and feel free to get in touch with me if you have any questions or any ideas of your own.